Welcome to Horse Bytes, your go-to source for keeping up with the show jumping world. It was another busy spring week of show jumping with the Global in Madrid taking place, as well as 4 stars scattered around the globe with competitions in North Salem, Bourg-en-Bresse, Guadalajara, and Wiesbaden. But more importantly, we are officially gearing up for the Olympics, and it's time to start doing some analysis as the next 8 weeks or so of big Nations Cups will eventually determine the teams who will go forth for their countries. With 20 teams and 15 individuals competing in Paris, it's sure to be an exciting run-up as everyone is vying for a spot at the top. We're also going to take a look at the controversial 3-person format and discuss why it's in place for the games and some dissenting opinions about the debate. But first, let's take a look at the many winners from the past week.
First up, we saw Christian Kukuk and his wonderful gelding Checker 47 win the LGCT Grand Prix in Madrid over Michael van der Vleuten and Gilles Thomas.
Checker and Kukuk, and this'll be tough to beat.
Olympic hopeful McLean Ward and Quimmy Del Massé marked their triumphant return to the winner's circle, taking the Empire State Grand Prix in the 4-star in North Salem. Rising star Kendra Claricia Brinkup and Do It Easy make easy work of the 4-star in Bourg-en-Bresse, beating out powerhouse Steve Gerda in the 2-round Grand Prix. The 4-star in Wiesbaden saw Belgian Koen Verreka and Casanova de la Palme take the win in a 5-horse jump-off, while the 4-star in Guadalajara, Mexico went to Colombian rider Ruben Arroyave and Menconvio PS.
Welcome to Showstopper, powered by EquiRatings. The countdown is on, and we are going to go through our top picks for the top 6 teams heading to the Paris Olympics. And this week, we're starting with Team USA. With the short list of 10 horse rider combinations already announced, and the first Nations Cup team participating in Rome this week, let's take a look at the stats. Currently, Team USA is ranked 4th based on their top 4 ELO-rated horses, meaning that if the team were to consist of their top overall horse rider combinations, they would theoretically be the 4th strongest team to compete. Of course, teams are not chosen yet, but they are at least in a strong position heading into selection. The US has more than 149 active horses, the most of any top 10 nation, and the horses average an ELO of 754. If you remember from episode 18, that's well above average, but not in the exceptional bracket. Looking at the top ELO-rated horses for the US, and if the US were to send a team based entirely on top horse rider combinations, the team would be as follows. McLean Ward and Contagious on an ELO of 766, highest ELO-rated US combination, although we know he is considering to bring Elex. Laura Kraut and Balutinu on 759, former Olympic silver medalist partner, and an obvious choice if the horse continues to remain healthy through the final push. Carl Cook and Kalinka van Zorgvliet on 749, one of my personal favorite combinations, but with Kalinka out due to a recent injury, we unfortunately won't be seeing them. And Ken Farrington and Greya on 743. We think he is planning on Landon, but Greya is certainly another great option. Looking at 2024 casts, however, the list would be slightly different. Remember, cast tells us about current form, so if we're going for horses that are peaking right now, we'd still see Carl and Kalinka, Laura and Balutinia, Kent and Greya, but we'd also have to go for McLean and Callis. With all these numbers, we can get a good sense of who's been jumping well currently and what the team could look like, but of course, this doesn't take into account the whole shortlist. Horses that had really strong autumns in 2023 and have been waiting for the final push, and of course, politics. If we're choosing here at Horse Bytes, taking into consideration all factors we know today, we'd go with Laura Kraut and Balutinu, McLean and Elex, Jessica Springsteen and Don Juan because of their track record and experience, and if he's on form in the next 2 months, and either Carl and his other Mount Caracol or Kent and Greya. However, we actually think the team will be Laura and Balutinu, McLean and Elex, Kent and Landon, and either Jess and Don or Lily Keenan and Argan. So the numbers tell us a lot, and we can base our decisions solely on the stats, but of course the next 8 weeks will reveal way more data about who is on form and ready to represent Team USA in Paris. Make sure to check out Rome this week, where we will get our first taste of Carl, Lily, and Aaron Vale, who will be representing from the shortlist. Bytes is officially launching merch, and we thought we'd start out with a giveaway. It's official! Bytes merch is finally here! What a better way to sport some new swag than win it right here on Bytes. We're giving away a merch bundle with a hoodie, keychain, and a little surprise to one lucky winner. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Insta, and comment below for your chance to win this awesome set. Winner will be announced on May 28th. This week on Weekly Wonder, we're talking about the very controversial topic of three-person Olympic teams versus the usual four-person teams in Nations Cups throughout the year. Now, this topic is hugely debated with strong opinions on both sides of the argument. Some say it's better sport with only 3 riders and no drop score, while some say it puts undue pressure on horse-rider combinations. Either way, three-person teams are happening in Paris, so let's take a look at the details. The first question, of course, is why? Why make a change at all? As per usual, money is at the heart of the change. The Olympic Organizing Committee put an ultimatum to the FEI before Tokyo, saying they needed a solution to allow more nations without increasing the horse quota due to the high cost of transporting and housing the horses and additional support staff. The FEI's solution was 3-person teams with an active alternate, increasing the number of teams to 20 while keeping the total number of horses competing at 75. Tokyo and soon Paris will be the first couple of Olympic Games to host only 3-person Nations Cup teams. After a hotly contested format for the Games in Tokyo, opinions are strong on both sides, whether it was a success or not. People often argue that having more, but weaker teams dilutes the quality of the sport, while others suggest that the Olympic mission is meant to bring sporting opportunities to the whole world, and for some participating is a huge success, while to others medaling is the ultimate goal. Those against it include most chef d'equipes and a large majority of riders. We spoke with Mexican chef d'equipe and former Canadian chef Mark Laskin to get his take on the topic.
You know, I'm a traditionalist, and so I like the classic format. You know, the 3-rider format, I think, goes against the fundamental principle of welfare of the horse. No rider should ever be put in a position where if he doesn't complete a round, his country, his or her country, I should say, is eliminated. I also think it's a more fair model. In our sport, there's so many random variables. You know, we have 2 living beings, one of which is an animal, and the chance of elimination by accident or bad luck is greatly increased. Personally, as a chef d'equipe, it makes my job more difficult. You know, it forces decisions based on caution as opposed to decisions based on excellence. You know, you kind of think that if a horse has ever had an incident, an issue with spooking, stopping, in-gates, water, you know, as a chef d'equipe, you're very, very reluctant to include that horse-rider combination on a team at the Olympic Games. More flags, you know, for me, I'd rather better quality. You know, it's the freaking Olympic Games. You should have people there. And in terms of costs, okay, I'm not going to be popular with the eventing world, but I think they should eliminate eventing. You know, there's a huge cost to putting on a 3-day event at the Olympics. I don't even know the numbers of horses that are involved, but building the cross-country courses and acquiring the land that's required in order to do that. Also, the higher chance of a catastrophic injury to horse and or rider. Well, I think that, you know, if you notice something about your horse as you're going around and it might be faltering a little bit and you don't quite know what it is, you might be more likely to pull up if you have someone protecting you, you know, with 3 other riders for your team. If you have a high score as a first rider, you know, it might be a traumatic experience for your horse. You might pull up. You could alleviate a crash or something, and a possible injury to your horse by pulling up, again, you'd be more likely to do that if you have backup. It did, but I think it's a small sample size, and I think it just got lucky. I think if you ran that competition, for 4 or 5 Olympic cycles, yeah, I think there'd be big problems.
We also spoke with a number of athletes and industry professionals who feel that the quality of sport and long-term viability of 3-person teams is vital to the continuance of equestrian sports as Olympic disciplines and should continue. The main points they made were, it's easier to watch and follow without a drop score. Very few other sports allow for a drop score or freebies. I mean, no track relay would allow for someone to trip and fall and still have their team win a medal. Given the results from Tokyo, riders will most likely opt for course completion with a confident horse over potentially less penalties or elimination. No rider would pull up in an Olympic team competition unless absolutely forced to, so the pressure is equal regardless. And the most unique aspect of the Olympics is the notion that it's about the best on the day, and no team would be allowed to prevail that has a weak link that didn't contribute to the overall score. The biggest and perhaps most important question really is, if the options are A, 3-person teams, or B, equestrian sports are out of the Olympics entirely, I'm not sure so many people would choose the latter, regardless of the pitfalls of such a system. In the end, we saw incredible sport in Tokyo with worthy and deserving winners, both in the team and individually. So it's sure to be equally as exciting come July in Paris. But now, let's take a look at some of the wild things from last week.
All right, let's see what we got this week. First things first. Is he riding a bike that is a horse? Who would decorate a bike like a horse? Only in the Netherlands. All right, in this one, whoa, she's hanging off the side. She's jumping, look at this, she grabs the saddle with her right hand and pulls herself back in. That was a good move. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. And this one, oh, what a meano. Oh, and then she gets kicked. Oh, man, talk about getting kicked while you're down. Brutal. Those were your wild things of the week.
That's a wrap on this week's top highlights. Stay tuned to all of our socials. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow along all the action as it unfolds here on Horse Bytes, your go-to source for keeping up with the show jumping world.